A little better? A little bit more? Just speak into it. Okay. Oh, I like that. Lift it up. Okay, well, let's have everybody assemble here. The cupcakes come at the end.
Hands off the cupcakes.
I think we've got enough for everyone. So I want to thank you all for coming to our party at a pothole. There were many, many different locations that we could have had this event at because, let's face it, there are many, many potholes in this county. And that's why we're all here. We're pulling together a whole group of elected officials and community leaders to talk about the need for transportation maintenance and safety improvements in our community. I want to thank everybody for coming here. I hate to say we're celebrating the potholes, but what we are celebrating is the fact that this whole group has come together in agreement that we need to do something about it. We've got business representatives, we've got environmental representatives, we've got representatives of the young and the old. We're all young. We've got some law enforcement representatives. Really, we brought together the whole community here today to celebrate the fact that we've created a transportation safety and investment plan that reflects all of our needs. I want to start by talking about why do we have to have a party to get attention to potholes? Well, in our county, our transportation funding has reached a fiscal cliff, and that's because we've been waiting for the state and federal government to do something, and they haven't. We haven't had an increase in the gas tax in 20 years, in more than 20 years. And there's hardly anything that you can buy for the same price that you bought back in 1994. And our transportation system is certainly one of those assets that we can't afford to pay for with 20-year-old revenues. You know, if you factor in the cost of inflation and the fact that all of our vehicles are getting better gas mileage, heck, our TAMC electric vehicle isn't even paying any gas tax. Our transportation funding has been cut in half, and it's really evident when you take a look at the condition of our streets in terms of the pavement condition and in terms of the safety issues. The funding has not just been depleted from county and city coffers, but it's also actively being taken away by our state government. In fact, just last month, we lost $16 million to make important safety improvements on our state highways. Poof, because there's simply not enough money out there. And after waiting and waiting for almost 2 years, the state legislature still hasn't adopted a package. So we're all here to take action locally. We want to become what's called a self-help county. We're going to help ourselves by raising our own revenues to address the transportation improvements that we think are important, not the ones that the state and the feds think are important. And we're done waiting for them. We are going to take action now. That's right. So we've got a whole group of people here today, and what I'd like to do is start out with really one of the key things we're celebrating. And that's the fact that we've gotten tremendous support from all of the cities and the county for this investment plan. So come on up, Mayor Joe Gunter from the largest city in our county, Salinas, and the other elected officials and city representatives, I want you to come up here and stand behind him in support. Thank you.
I got to get them all up here because they're not going to run away. I'm very fortunate today, a little bit. Councilwoman Craig would be here. She's our representative for the city of Salinas at TAMC. She's taking care of a family matter, which is extremely important. And our city, along with the 11 other cities in this county, have all voted to support and endorse this measure because we understand the significance of what this is going to do for every city, every county road, and in this county, we will start making it better to drive on. A friend of mine said that we should make sure we all go back and buy big trucks and sell the electric cars. We'd get more tax money that way. Well, that's not the answer. We have too many cars in this area as it is. But joining me today, I have John Huerta, the mayor of Greenfield, Ralph Rubio, the mayor of Seaside. I know he's hiding back here. Is Todd Bendham, the Sand Cities? Bodum, okay. I don't see Renee Mendez here, but I know he's on his way. Steve Adams, King City, Lade Long, City Manager of Marina, and Commander Paul Tomasi from the Carmel Police Department. All of these cities are committed to this measure, and I think that's really what matters. But as you drive around our city streets, or any of the cities, because we meet every month in a different city, and I don't care what city you go to, Carmel, Pacific Grove, Monterey, go to my South County cities, and I call them mine because I live in this county, and I live here. They all need our help. We all got to work on this together to make it safer, to make it so that people can drive their cars and get there without damaging them, and it improves the quality of life, and that's really why I think all of us supported it, because we like where we live. We know that people come here because we live, and if you look at today, this is why people want to come here. You could be in one of those states where it's not like this. But we're lucky, but we're going to have to invest back in our communities for quality of life, and this is a quality of life. Every agency has submitted a list of the projects they're going to do, and I'm sure they're going to be available later, and that's just the beginning of where we're going with this tax. I think you're going to see immediately what occurs. We did a tax in the city of Salinas, and we're putting money into sidewalks. We're just finishing $600,000, and we're going to do another $600,000. It's a drop in the bucket, but this is significant, what we're going to be able to do. And I would hope that the communities understand, because they call and complain about this, and I'm sure all of these gentlemen have gotten calls from people, when are you going to fix my street? Because they belong to them. When we fix them, they're no longer ours, they're theirs. So I think we all have to work together, and I think it's very significant. We support this measure and move forward. So thank you for being here. And it's going to be a lot of work, but I think we can accomplish it in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Gunter. Thank you, Mayor Huerta. Thank you, Mayor Rubio. Thank you, Councilmember Labar. Thank you, City Manager Bodum. And thank you, City Manager Lane Long. All right, and now we're going to move into the community part of the activities, unless you all wanted to say something. Well, one of the interesting things about this plan is how many people helped participate in creating it. Some of you might know that we tried this before. This time we said we've got to get everybody involved, because what happened was, at the staff level, we're like, we're done. We know this is really hard, and we're just telling people we can't do things anymore. And community members kept saying, no, we've got to do something about our streets. We've got to do something about the safety issues. I'll never forget, Jim Bogart from the Growers Shippers came up to me and said, we've got to become a self-help county. And I said, whoa, okay. And then Norm Groot from the Farm Bureau came up to me and said, we've got to become a self-help county. And frankly, Chris Orman, Fire Chief of North County Fire, has been saying for a long time, we've got to become a self-help county. We've got to take care of our roads. So in addition to those folks, we have representatives here from the Alliance on Aging. We're part of our group. CHISPA representatives are here, and we're part of the stakeholder group. We had representatives from labor here, you'll hear from later today. We have both chambers of commerce standing right next to each other, urging us to proceed with this. Let's see, who else am I not remembering here? We've got MST said, hey, we still need to take care of some of the needs for people that aren't being well served by the fixed route transit, and we need to increase the services down to South County from Salinas. We have the Taxpayers Association of Salinas said, hey, this is so important, we're going to make an exception and support this, and anybody else who I didn't mention. So we're going to hear from a few of the rural counties, the Rural Coalition down from South County. We went down and spoke to them, and they had a list of projects that they wanted us to do. And then we've got some representatives from the Fort Ord Recreational Trail and Greenway that said, don't forget about active transportation. We need to get our kids healthy. We need a place for our families to get out and get places without having to drive. So we're going to call up just a few of those folks to talk about why this plan is important to them. And I'd like to start with the people that have been with us for a long time and were right out in front of supporting that, and that's the Carpenters Union, Representative Sean Heber from Carpenters Union 1.
I just wanted to say that it's been amazing being part of this coalition, the breadth of this coalition, from the Farm Bureau to the business community to the nonprofits to the environmental community. We've really started early building consensus among the entire group, and I've never seen anything this disparate move so smoothly, and I think it really speaks to the community's mutual need for all of these. It's not just serving the farm community, it's not just serving the people of Carmel, but it's serving the people of Alisal, it's serving the people of Greenfield. And it's an important part of where we need to go as a county, I feel, because we're still struggling behind a lot of the state with unemployment in this county. And we're letting that money go by not becoming a self-help county. We're letting that money go to other counties that may not need it as much as we do. But in this case, we have a chance to get funding to improve our roads for all of our citizens, and from our perspective, create new jobs in the community that are good jobs with benefits and a path through apprenticeship that will be a ladder to the middle class for a lot of our Monterey County residents. And I'm really proud to be part of the coalition. I'm really looking forward to the hard work that's coming up from here on out. And thank you for your support, everybody.
Thank you, Sean, and really thank you, Mayor Ralph Rubio, who also worked for many years with Northern California Carpenters Union and kept this movement going. Well, I'd like to continue the discussion about economic benefits by bringing up here the folks that are joining hands across the lettuce curtain, the Salinas Chamber of Commerce Director Paul Farmer and the Monterey Peninsula Chamber of Commerce Chair Jody Hansen, and also I'd like to bring up Norm Groot, representing the Monterey County Farm Bureau. Welcome, folks.
Are we supposed to literally hold hands? Because I will. I'll do that. Not you. Norm, come on. So it's not every day that business organizations get support taxes, but there's a reason that we do that. And I think that most people would agree, we can argue about the purpose of government, but most people would agree that providing sound infrastructure for our citizens and for our businesses to thrive is one of the things that government should be doing. When there are potholes and when there are bad roads, we all pay the cost for that in our vehicles and wear and tear and in our safety and all of that. And likewise, when we have good infrastructure, we all benefit from that. So those are some of the reasons why we're getting behind this. Some of you may or may not know that in San Benito County, their transportation tax also needed a 2/3 majority, and it failed with 59%. I commend TAMC and all of the groups who are here today for the work we've done together, but in order for this to pass, we have an opportunity, but I think that it's going to rely on each of our organizations to talk to people about the importance of this and to get behind it so that we're not one vote shy when we get there. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Jody.
Monterey Peninsula Chamber of Commerce strongly supports the tax measure. Fixing our highways and our roads are a critical issue. If we can improve our commutes, we save a lot of money. We save fuel, we save employee time and wages, and we also save the air quality. So it reduces pollution, and we want to get people from place to place a lot faster, and that will save us in a lot of ways. Thank you.
So when I first heard this was going to be called Party in the Pothole, my immediate thought was, well, we need to have this out on Old Stage Road or River Road where there are lots of potholes that we could all probably fit in and manage. I think the reason that Farm Bureau got involved in this from the beginning was that we realized that our rural roads need help, and the only way we can do that is through self-help. And we need to make sure that we have reliable arteries for our transportation, not only for our goods and services that are produced in the Salinas Valley and around the county, but also for our safety of our citizens as they move around too. There's a lot of people who live in the rural areas who are suffering on these roads right now and really need to have improvements made so that they can make left turns without running into a situation where they could get rear-ended. So I think from a standpoint, the Farm Bureau fully supports that we need to be a self-help county. It'll improve our commerce. It'll improve the ability of our fleets within the agriculture to not get beat up every day when they're out on the road, and to really look at what we need to focus on, which is economic growth here. And that includes improving the wine trail down River Road, making sure that that roadway is safe, not only for the transportation of our goods and services, but also for the tourists who come and visit Monterey County and want to do wine tasting along the trail. So there's a lot of economic benefits that could certainly be reached through this, not just in the Salinas Valley, but all over our county. Thank you.
Norm took me on a little mini tour yesterday where we got to make one of those fun left-hand turns across US 101. And the road that we turned onto was in really lousy shape, and I'm just thankful that I wasn't in my little Mini Cooper, which feels every single bump, because that was a pretty torn up road there on Potter Road, which I'm pretty sure is on the list, right, Benny?
Yes.
All right. Well, we also took into account in the development of this plan the needs of a diverse population that we have here. And I'd just like to invite Kayla Bumba of the Salinas Senior Center to come up and talk a little bit about how this plan reflects the mobility needs of the community.
Thank you, Debbie. And I'm going to make a little correction. She said we're all young, but we're not. I'm old. 75 years, and I'm a gerontologist. I represent seniors all the time. It's my pleasure to do that. And one thing, first of all, I was pleased to be able to be on the Stakeholders Committee. I met lots of new folks and had a good time, and I think we did good work. This measure is exciting for my community, the seniors, and it provides options to both the seniors and the disabled, options for better transportation, for public transportation, as well as some of us do drive cars. So we're excited about it. We're excited that the senior and disabled community was involved in the whole process. Thank you. And I have a bad knee, so now I'm going to sit down because I'm old.
And anyone else that has a bad knee, we have a large array of chairs here, so please help yourself. I'd like to call up Fred Watson from Cal State Monterey Bay to come and talk a little bit about some of the equitable features of the plan that we've got here and the importance of serving, again, a diverse part of our community. Thank you, Fred.
Thanks, Debbie. The TAMC Transportation Safety and Investment Plan has some really good stuff in it for alternative transportation, for improving the ways in which we can walk and bike through our communities and between our communities, and the ways in which we can connect our communities to the open spaces that we benefit from here on the California Central Coast. A lot of the communities in our area, particularly surrounding the former Fort Ord, were impacted by the base closure 20 years ago. We've got underserved communities right next to some really great opportunities left in the wake of that base closure to create regional trail systems through which people can walk and bike between communities and retail centres, between communities and places of work, and between communities and recreational assets. We've got a number of elements in the plan that support that. A particular one that's specifically identified is the Fort Ord Recreational Trail and Greenway System. That's going to be a 30-mile system of trails, paved trails, encompassing the cities of Seaside, Marina, Sand City, Monterey, Delray Oaks, and East Garrison and other parts of the unincorporated county land. That's a lot of cities connected together in a planning context where if we left it to individual cities to do it, would be difficult because it's hard to create connections across city boundaries. With a regional leadership from an organisation like TAMC, we have a mechanism for transcending those city boundaries to create a regional asset that will really become something that's prominent on a national scale, a nationally recognised trail system that will benefit our quality of life and our economic vitality.
And I'd like to thank the energy and support that Fred Watson and his colleague Scott Waltz have brought to the development of this plan, bringing a whole new group of people who are really enthusiastic about making this happen. Well, so next I'd like to invite up Kevin Dayton, president of the spokesman for the Salinas Valley Taxpayers Association, to tell us as to how's a Taxpayers Association interested in supporting a tax. Kevin.
Thank you, Debbie. I am Kevin Dayton. Actually, I'm the newly elected president of the Salinas Taxpayers Association. And yes, perhaps some of you would be surprised, but in March, our board unanimously voted to support the transportation plan and the sales tax. We are concerned about fiscal responsibility and making sure that taxpayers' money is spent wisely. We looked at this plan to say, is there a true need for it? Are the expenditures reasonable and appropriate? And will there be adequate oversight if this sales tax passes so that people can be confident that their money will be well spent? And we looked at all of those. We were very impressed that in January we had Debbie come and speak to our group and we grilled her with many, many questions about the proposal. And we looked at the plan itself. You know, there's a lot of proposals in there. Not everything there we said we totally agreed with, but we had to look at the overall picture, looking at the potholes and knowing the reputation of the Monterey Bay Area as a place where the roads are crumbling. It's embarrassing to hear from people in the San Francisco Bay Area saying, oh yeah, your roads are terrible there. So we think that this will be good for economic growth and job creation as we have better roads here. We're also concerned about what happens after the tax passes, because this is sometimes where problems arise. And we did request that the TAMC include a oversight committee that represented the community. We asked to have taxpayer organizations represented there, and they included in there for the oversight committee both a taxpayer association from the Salinas Valley and from the Monterey Peninsula. And I'm sure that from those two groups there will be outstanding people who are very analytical, looking at the expenditures to make sure that the voters are getting what they anticipated when they voted for this. We do not want to see plans change over time that taxpayers become disillusioned about. And I believe that the protections are here, the checks and balances to assure that this money will be spent appropriately. So the Taxpayers Association in Salinas urges the people of Monterey County to vote yes on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, and we really did work to put in a lot of taxpayer safeguards in this measure, in the plan. I wanted to recognize a few more people who are here, notably Judy Lehman with the League of Women Voters, which just recently voted to endorse the plan. So thank you so much. I know that your seal of approval means that this is something that you really believe in, and so thank you to the League of Women Voters and to Judy for coming. I also want to recognize Chispa, who's here in force. They participated in the stakeholder committee, and they recognize that housing and transportation are very much linked. So thank you, Alfred, thank you, Paul, and thank you to your board chair as well. And then finally, I want to recognize somebody who really did quite a bit of work and came in and said, you need to do this. And that's Benny Young, who's the interim public works director. We're hoping to cross that interim office name very soon. He knows how this has worked in other states, and he knows that it's critical to have your own money, which is what self-help is all about, raising your own money for local transportation measure. We've talked a lot about the diversity of folks who helped to craft the plan, but I also wanted to just talk a little bit about some of the folks who will benefit of this plan, on this plan, and that's the I'm going to get this wrong. Prevention Youth Council. The Prevention Youth Council is a group of young people who are interested in promoting traffic safety. So you could just imagine when I found out about these people at my Rotary Club meeting that I had to get them involved somehow in transportation activities, and we had to support everything they were doing to go to Youth Traffic Safety Summit. So I would like to call up the Prevention Youth Council to come and talk about what you're all about and why these transportation improvements are so important, and how you're working to improve safety on our roads. So thanks so much. We've got Heidi and we've got Bernie.
Okay, so we're from from the Sunrise House Youth Council, and every September we go down to Anaheim to attend a traffic summit where we learned many things.
By many things we mean, like, we learn things such as traffic safety, youth, and bringing back projects for our community to do. And this year we're taking 10 youth, 3 adults, and we need a donation of $8,000 to fly there. And yeah, I'll be. What? That's pretty much it.
What kind of safety things do you promote?
Excuse me?
Like not drinking and driving and stuff like that. Thank you.
I'll confess that I did allow them to make a pitch in exchange for coming here to speak, but I really think it's great to see folks interested in transportation and transportation safety. We always talk about engineering and education, and they've spent a lot of time in the education side of things, and we're focusing a lot today on the engineering side of things. So I'd like to thank all of you for coming here. I also want to just show our strength in numbers here and have everybody come up and pose behind the lectern here. I also just want to note, some of you may know Officer Jim Mahoney, who actually was hit by a car at this location. And we bring him here just to remind everybody how important it is to make our roads safe and to support improvements, safe routes to schools, which is something that we're also going to be funding. So come on up. Let's pose with Officer Jim.
Who's good?
We got our party girl.
Say cheese.
No potholes.
Fix some roads. Okay. All right, so we've got plenty of cupcakes with your own souvenir of our event, a collection of wonderful little Matchbox cards. So everybody please help yourselves. There will be no cupcakes going home to the TAMC offices.
Were you impressed to bring a tear to your eye?